Hello everyone and welcome to my Adobe Animate tutorial. This is the very legal version of Adobe Animate that you can get for about $27 a month. And I'm gonna teach you a trick I recently found out about how you can make your animations smooth. So to start things off, I want to say that okay, first I'm gonna save this. That when you move, when you move, you don't usually move at like a constant speed. You always have to accelerate and decelerate. And in animation, it's often imitated. And that process it's often imitated in animation in a process called easing. So what's easing? Easing is like when you make a drawing, and then you move a couple of frames, and then you put, and then in Adobe Animate you can make a tween. You see, this is without tweening. This is without easing. This is just at a constant speed. And then in the tweening tab, in properties, you can select it using window. You can window and then properties. In the window tab at the top, you can select properties, and then you can, in the properties, you can pick which easing you want to do. For example, let's do ease in out cubic ease in out. And now you see how the little guy he accelerates and then decelerates. So but it's one of the principles of animation, easing in and easing out. When you move, you don't move at a constant speed. So oh yeah, I also gonna change the frame rate because I usually work with 24. I always work with 24 FPS, but Adobe Animate's default is 30 for some reason. So another principle of animation that you need to know is arcs. What are arcs? It's that you move in. Is that you can move in a straight line, but like most of your body movements and like most of the movements of like anything natural is like circular in a way. Like let's say what does that mean? It's like I can't really explain it scientifically, but like I'm gonna explain it using an animation, short animation. You should. I'm not really a good explainer of the principles of animation, so like I highly recommend you check out Alan Becker's version of it from 2015. But it's like when you can combine arcs with easing, and I'm gonna show you in this tutorial how to do it. So for this animation, I'm gonna draw a little guy jumping for joy. I'm gonna not only am I gonna show you how to make the easing and arcs, but also I'm gonna show you a couple of other things you can do in Adobe Animate. So to start off, let's create the guy himself. Let's draw a little guy just standing there. There, I drew a little guy, and now I'm gonna make it into a symbol using keyboard shortcut F8. I'm gonna name it guy. So when you jump for joy, you usually raise your hands in the air. So I'm gonna draw one hand. I'm gonna color the guy. I'm gonna make him light green, bright green. Oh, I forgot to complete the outline. I'm gonna make him green because to make it easy to separate from the body from the limbs. I'm gonna draw him green, and I'm gonna draw one of his hands. It will be hold on, one of his hands will be in front of the guy and one of the hands will be behind. Like this. It doesn't matter. I know the drawings look crappy because I'm not really trying, but it's just a tutorial. It's just that you can make it look better yourself, like how you draw it. I'm going to color the arm that's behind the guy blue, and the arm that's in front, I'm going to draw it, color it orange. And then once again, I forgot I didn't complete the outline. Actually, I should complete it with black. Like this, and then I'm gonna color it orange. So this guy, what the thing he's gonna do is like he's gonna jump for joy. He's like gonna like go up, and then because he's at his and then because he doesn't decelerate when you jump, when you like make a fast move, when you like do a fast movement that you just only keep speeding up upon impact, that fast movement gets turned into a force, like a hitting force that like pulls you back, because you can't go once you reach your movement limit, like how much you can, like how fast you can go and stuff, then if you don't decelerate, then you're gonna be forced to a stop, which is recoiling. It's it's also an important thing to know in the Adobe Animate. So first, I'm gonna draw the guy raising his hands. I'm gonna create 25 frames, and then I'm gonna turn his arms into, and then I'm gonna turn his arms into symbols, because I'm gonna tween them. Arm front. I'm gonna put the anchor point here. It's something I don't usually set anchor points because it doesn't really affect that much, but you probably should do that. And then arm behind. Then put the anchor point here. So now let's start on frame 5. Let's start on frame 5 and then have him raise his hands. And then frame 15. Frame 15 will be the end point. So actually, you know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to draw a new pose, a new hand pose for the guy. I'm going to make him like a little flex thing, like a flex pose, like when you flex your muscles. I'm going to draw the first part of the hand and color it orange. That's the front arm. That's going to be arm front 2. I go into the symbol, create a new layer, and then on that new layer I'm going to draw the second part of the arm. That's another principle of animation. Secondary action. When making, because like a body of a person, or like anything that has more than one organ is gonna move differently. So like this is the hand. I'm gonna call this the hand, or hand front, and arm front. Wait, no, not arm. shoulder front, because arm front is already taken. So what the only thing I'm gonna do is like make 5 frames of the hand coming into position. What that means is that it's gonna start out straight, but then it's gonna go into this position, which is like the absolute cinema meme. You like create classic tween and then ease out quart. I'm gonna use. Now we see his now I'm gonna make him, this guy, I'm gonna make him raise his arm. Actually, I'm gonna do it in the reverse, because I'm gonna use recoiling instead of deceleration. So instead of, so like this, like he reaches his limit of how much he can move his arm, so he has to go back a little bit. So I'm going to put the one of the frames here, and at frame number 10, and then raise it a little bit, because that's the movement limit, and then tween ease out. Okay, and yeah, and to not make a symbol loop, you can make it play a single frame, or you can make it not loop and stuff. Yeah. See, now the hand is moving, but we still have to make him raise his hand at first, and then in this time, and now I'm gonna use smearing. You should be, when you animate with like smear frames and tweens and stuff, you should be ease in. You should be wary that it might look goofy, really goofy. Now let's look at this. Oh, that looks pretty good actually. See? Like you should be. Something that is smearing is something that you can do with like squash and stretch. When you stretch your arm, when the movement is so fast that the body part stretches, so and because of that the volume has to stay consistent. And like if it stretches out, then if something becomes longer, it also becomes thinner. But if it becomes shorter, then it also becomes wider. So like the hand, it became wide, but also shorter than when it was before. And now I'm gonna do the same for the other hand. Okay, make a hand. Make the hand. Make the shoulder part of the hand, and then make the hand of the arm, make the shoulder, and then make the hand. That's arm behind 2. New layer, make the arm. Yeah, instead of him jumping for joy, he's gonna do the absolute cinema pose. Oh yeah, I didn't explain it how to do it, but if you want to fill in, you can use the pencil tool. Let's see. You can use the pencil tool with Shift Y, and then draw. And then draw a temporary outline, fill it in, and then select it, and deselect everything that isn't the pencil thing, the pencil tool. And then and it won't affect your drawing. So now we've got 5 more frames. Gonna make the arm. Actually, why did I make a shoulder symbol if I'm not even gonna use it? Arm, no wait, that's hand behind That's hand behind. So it's gonna be like this, and then it's gonna recoil. It's gonna do a little bit of recoiling too, like this. And then also move the arm itself. Position the anchor point, and then move it. And then move the arm according to how it rotates. And then ease out. Usually the ease outs I use here are quart. Frame 1. Oh yeah, and once again, single frame. Maybe I'll move it a little bit more. Maybe not too much, but like. And then once again, we make the other arm. Stretch it out, make it shorter, and then skew it, to make it like more. To make sure it doesn't go like diagonally and stuff. Now that looks pretty good. That's the arms done, and now we're gonna do the guy himself. I'm gonna create 25 frames because that's how much the symbol of the guy had. Now I'm gonna. So usually when I animate fast movements, I usually work in intervals of 5 frames because 5 is an easy to divide number. And also it's like listed here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 in the Adobe Animate thing. It specifically lists it. So now I'm gonna make him jump. I'm gonna put the anchor point here at the bottom because when you turn your body, you see that it starts out at the it starts out at the hips. You can turn your upper body and you can turn your legs. The upper body is connected to the hips and the legs are connected to the hips. So now, frame 5, frame 10, frame 10, frame 15. I'm gonna show another trick later, but for now, make him raise him up a little bit and also complete his lower body because it's not complete. I'm gonna make his lower body a little bit longer. Again, it doesn't have to look good because it's a tutorial specifically. Just a little trick I wanted to show. So first he goes up and then goes back down for a little bit. I'm gonna use tweening, ease in on the first and then ease out on the second. So that's recoiling. But this looks decent, I would say. Like it doesn't look really that bad. But this video is about using eases along with arcs. So why I want to show you how to do arcs, because like when you see how this animation moves, like you see that the character is basically going in a straight line. When you like tween something in Adobe Animate, it just interpolates the motion and it just makes it go in a straight line, which kind of looks boring. Like yes he does accelerate, which I did say is a good thing to add in your animations, but then it's in a constant direction and we're not perfect beings who can we shake, we can shiver, we can have involuntary movements in our bodies, and like we're not perfect creatures and stuff. So like we can never usually move in like complete straight lines. So I have two ways of recently I've learned of two ways to do this. I'm gonna make a copy of this layer and then move the new guy. So what you're seeing right now is there are two copies of the same guy. For this one, I'm gonna select edit multiple frames, select range Alt Shift E. I'm gonna put it all over this thing, and then I'm gonna move the second guy over to the right because he's gonna show us he's gonna do the second trick. So right now we have two little guys on the screen. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the first way, which is way more simple, is like you create, if you want to make something more like circular arcs. Arcs are like circular movements. So if you want to make something look more circular, you just make it be shaped. I'm gonna remove the second guy for now. I'm gonna focus on the one on the left, which is the original. The first way to make more arc-shaped movements, like circular movements instead of straight lines, is you edit the path that the character that the body takes, and then you like this, like the way one effective way that I discovered recently is like you make here, this is the frame of the absolute extreme, where it's like your character is at their extreme point and they were at their top speed, and now they're gonna slow down back into their final pose. So I'm gonna create one frame before, create keyframe F6, and then I'm gonna press the right arrow key 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That's just an example. And then I'm gonna go the frame after that, and then I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. And now you see, now he's going in a more round movement, like by making it go right and then left, I changed the way it showed it. So like before this, it looks something like the path that the symbol took when it was tweening looks something like this. Like it starts out at the bottom right, then goes up and left in a straight line, and then goes back down and then still right on to the left. But now when I edited the frames where the character is located here and here, and I moved those frames a little bit to the frame before, I moved it a little bit to the right, and the frame after I moved it a little bit to the left. So the new path looks something more like this, which is I know it's still not perfectly circular, but one thing is that it's closer to a circular movement, which makes it look more natural. And two, it's subtle. Like you don't have to make it like completely circular, or else it'll look too unnatural as well. Like you should have to. Well, I think you should like try to make it more like the directions can change a little bit, not like entirely, but like because too much of a good thing is bad. So if you like try too hard with making it look like it's circular, like a circular movement, then the character is gonna like spin around and stuff. I don't know how to explain it. And now that's the first method, using one keyframe before, one keyframe after, move the character in those two keyframes a little bit to form more of a circular path. And then the second way to do it, I'm gonna make a copy of the guy, and I'm gonna change his color so that it's more. I'm gonna make him purple. There we go. And I'm gonna replace every keyframe. Something you need to remember is that keyframes are saved as they were before. So if you create a new symbol, then you have to change all of the keyframes where the old symbol appears and replace it with the new one. So I'm going to replace all of it real quick with the new guy, which is who is purple. And I'm gonna right click on the layer 1 copy, because that's the guy on the right. Right click, convert layers to symbol, and then I'm gonna make guy extra. Now you see that when you go inside of guy extra, you can see the original animation is still there. So now I create a frame on keyframe 5, 10, and 15, because that's where the original animation was. And then all I do is that I make him move a little bit more. Like to the make more horizontal movements, I guess. This is a lot more hit and or miss of a way. Like you see, when he's moving to the left, it's like, oh, maybe I can. Oh yeah, also you can move it. You also should move it a little bit like this. And like change around how you move him, and change around the easing and the see what works and what doesn't. So this is cubic ease out. I'm experimenting with this. So this is more circular, I think. This is like the original animation is like I'm putting two forms of movement on top of each other, and then I make them conflict each other, which artificially makes it like move in a different direction, in a slightly different direction. It like deviates from the original line, straight line that the character goes through at first. Like you see here that because of the cubic ease in, then the character still has to move to the right as they move up and left. Then the right and the left conflict with each other, and like because it's unpredictable, because it's like a little bit unpredictable, then it doesn't follow the regular straight line. Yeah. Now it's two guys jumping for joy in two different ways of animating them. I think now I think the way that the green guy did it is better, with the changing the frames, like manually creating keyframes around the extreme point is better, because then you don't have to make nested symbols, and you can still see the path the whole time. Like you can see what path the character takes the whole time, but like with the purple guy, I had to like with the purple guy, I had to like see what works and stuff, because symbols inside of symbols aren't very predictable because of how much movement is going on there's two movements going on at the same time. But I'm gonna show you an example from my own work that recently I've been trying to reanimate a few scenes from BFDI as if they're, but instead of objects, they're humans. And I'm gonna show you two examples of the of where I used arcs with easing in the animations. So there are two animations. There's one with Teapot 3, and then there's another one with the strongest team on Earth, and then there's another one. Where is it? With the first Teapot episode, with Just Not, the team Just Not. Okay.
Don't worry, Taggy. As long as everyone stays careful, we aren't gonna have a name like that.
Okay, so the movement of Book in this animation, the way I animated Book in this shot is the same is how I did the purple guy on the right, with like nested layers and stuff. So if we go inside of this symbol of Book, we can see her. Like you can see her going in a straight line, rotating, and also going a little bit to the right, and then she reaches her extreme point and then goes back down onto the left, and then like you can see that it's straight line movements and stuff. So like what I did here, she goes a little bit to the right. Okay, I'm gonna stop the animation in here to see what I exactly did with like this. What's the second movement supposed to be? Because one of the reasons I don't find I've decided to stop doing this method is that with like two movements at the same time, you can't really figure out what to make the second. What to make the. She goes up. So the second movement is simply her going upwards. So how this conflicts with the other animation, with the rest of the animation, is that this is frame. This in the animation matches this frame in the symbol. So she starts out her movement to the top right. She moves to the top right. And then this is the extreme frame. And then you see how she's like primarily moving to the right. So you can see how like by her going up, and then also the two movements not being aligned with each other, giving more opportunity for like a more circular movement, because she because she finishes going up, and then while she's still going to the right, while she is still rotating to the right, like she starts her movement upwards on this frame. She's going up, and then this is her extreme point of going up. Like you can see how she's going up and right, and then she stops going up, then she starts going down after this frame. And then because like the inside movement is like her going up and right, and then at first the second movement is her going up, so which gives it more upwards motion, gives her more upwards motion, and then she stops getting more upwards motion here and instead starts going down. So in the two animations in the two movements conflict, then you get the next frame is this. Like you see how she's not going neither up nor down, she's just going to the right, which which gives you a sense of like it going in of her going in an arc, like in a circular movement, because first she's going up and right, and then she's going just to the right, and even a little bit downwards. And then because her movement downwards is so short, then she finishes it before she finishes moving left. Which is like how at first first it looked like this, but then it looks more like wait, I need to. So like the way it looks like the inside movement looked like this. This is the inside the symbol. She starts out here. Start. Point A is the start. Point B is the extreme point, and then here point C is the finish. Is the where she finishes. And then in the second animation, in the second movement, it's like it's just going up a lot, and then down, and then it's like going up before you finish the animation, before she finishes going to the right, and then going down before she finishes going to the left. So when you combine that, it ends up looking like first she gets out no, that's too much. That's not a good color. First she gets movement to upwards. Then the extra movement upwards ends here. She moves a little bit to the right, and then with the recoil happens. So this is point A. This is where up stops. This is point B. This is point B, and then she goes downwards, and then this is where the downwards movement stops. And this is point C. It's really complicated, but like you can see how this shape is closer to a circle. This is the combined movement. It looks more like a circle than this shape, than the brown shape looks more like a circle than the red shape. And because the movement is so small, it's like way smaller and subtle. Then it looks like a circle, like a circular movement. And now I'm gonna go to the other animation with Snowball from BFDI. So this animation of Snowball, so he pulls away his sleeve, and now he's gonna flex his muscles on his arm. So you see how there's 3 frames. Well, let's remove those frames for a second and just make it with straight line movement. Like you see, he moves to the left and he moves left and up, and then reaches his extreme point and goes left and down. It's in a straight line, so he mysteriously changes directions when he reaches his extreme point, which is one of the reasons why it looks so unnatural. But now there's a frame here that moves him a little bit to the right, and this frame that moves him a little bit to the left. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too much to the right. Strength, guys. And also maybe a little bit downwards. Like, shape the frames, the keyframes that are around the extreme point, shape them to be more like a circular movement. Like manually edit the tween to make it look like he's going in a more circular path. Strength, guys. Like you see, like now he's going in a more circular path, which is what I did for the animation. And I'm gonna restore the original, the way how it looked. I'm gonna restore how it looked originally. And that and something, and I think this is like my. I'm gonna praise myself for a second, but I think this is like my favorite part of my animation, how he goes in a circular movement, and also the muscle. That's why I did the whole part of secondary action where you like he moves his hands and then you separate the hand into two pieces. That's why I did that part, because when I did this animation of Snowball flexing his muscle, I added the part where he like originally he wasn't moving at all, he was just moving around, he was just moving his face and limbs around, and then I added the movement of the body itself, like him moving around by himself. This muscle is built up of 3 different parts: the shoulder, the hand, like the hand is here with the fist, the shoulder part here, and then the muscles, and then the muscle itself slowly growing, like when you flex your muscle. It's like a hand that has 3 parts to it, and also the part where he is just. So that's all. Not only is it arcs, easing with arcs, it's also secondary actions. I think I'm proud of myself, how I'm proud of how I did this part, and I decided that I wanted to share a little bit of my knowledge how to do this. Yeah, so that basically wraps up the tutorial. Maybe I could. Oh my god, it's been 40 minutes. How? Holy. I'm gonna try. A little bit harder with how this guy did it. With the purple guy. So he's going up and to the left, down and to the left. Maybe like. Like a little bit more like this. Maybe I could. I'm gonna remove the guy on the right. And the dogs started barking again. Yeah, when you experiment, well, the thing I said about the whole symbols inside of symbols thing is that it's way more complicated. Now I added a little. Now I did a little part where he's going right before he goes up. So now it's even more in a circular path. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here. I'm not sure how I can. Like you see, they're also moving a little bit differently. Because I made them move in like different ways. But yeah, that's the end of the tutorial. My dogs won't stop barking, so that's a good point to stop.